he says that knowledge begins with experience, right? The key thing here to recognize is that we're talking about knowledge, right? Kant says knowledge begins with experience. This is why I said it's important, and I can't stress how important it is to make sure that when we're doing our analysis of Immanuel Kant, that we separate Kant's epistemology from Kant's metaphysics, right? All too often, people read a claim like knowledge is independent to, not independent, knowledge begins with experience, and for whatever reason, probably, new philosopher error, think that he's making a metaphysical claim here. He's not making a metaphysical claim here. He's making an epistemological claim, right? Knowledge is epistemology. Right? This is an epistemological claim. My knowing that something exists, my knowledge that there is an external world, there are things, there's a marker, there's the camera, and so on. My knowledge of the external world begins in the external world. It begins with this information. This information is given to me, right? So here I am. Here is an external world, and I receive this information, right? It begins, my knowledge of stuff is the knowledge of this stuff here, even my own body, right, as a physical thing, as an extended thing, right? My knowledge begins here. This epistemological claim is not and should not, cannot be confused with the metaphysical claim, right, of the existence of the external world. There's two different things, right? When we're talking about the existence of the external world, and we're talking about my knowledge of that existence, we're not talking about the same thing, right? And I think all too often in a very cursory introductory discussion of Immanuel Kant, we start to slip down a very slippery slope right from the onset, right? His epistemology is distinct and should be distinct from his metaphysics. His epistemological claim that we know of the existence of the external world is in no sense the same claim that knowledge cannot be derived from pure philosophical cognition cannot be derived from experience. And as we progress, I'll explain more in a little bit. Hopefully we'll clear that up. I just wanted to make sure that we keep note for and keep a sharp ear out for the epistemological and the metaphysical claims, right? And we don't confuse the two. All right. The next thing that he says, and specifically now, this information, this comes from the critique of pure reason, right? So this is not in the Prolegomena. I'm digressing for a second. And I went back into the section that he referenced in the Prolegomena, read through it in the Critique of Pure Reason, and incorporated this here as background information, because you'll need to know this information to have an understanding of what he means by pure philosophical cognition, or pure knowledge. Okay, the next, and I'm about to tell you that right now, pure knowledge. So now we'll make sense of what he means by pure. What does Kant mean by pure knowledge? Pure knowledge, according to Kant, is a priori. It's a priori in its basis, right? And he says this in the Critique of Pure Reason. By a priori, this is specifically how he defines it, and this is a quote. He says, quote, "Not the knowledge that is not independent of this or that experience," right? Knowledge which is not independent of this or that sort of flippant experience, but knowledge absolutely independent of all experience, right? So when Kant is using the term a priori, he means it in a very specific sense, right? He doesn't mean independent to some particular experience. So it would be incorrect to talk about something being a priori on the basis of it being independent to my experience of some color, or independent to my experience of some fact of the matter. To be a priori, truly, according to Kant, is to be utterly, completely, absolutely independent to experience, right? These things are completely independent to experience. And it's precisely at this point that, in a very introductory discussion of the Prolegomena, questions start to pop up. And I'll address them as we get to them. He talks about, well, actually, let me give you one now before I sort of get lost in the analysis. Later in the analysis, if I put it in here, and I might not have put it in here, but he says it in one of the pages, the first two pages of the Prolegomena. He talks about, or it could have been critique, he talks about the color, the gold, the substance gold, right? And he makes the claim that gold is yellow. the claim that gold is yellow, the yellow of the gold, the being yellow, the fact that gold is this thing yellow, you would think directs me into experience, and I need to be able to experience that thing in order to make the claim, right? What Kant is going to say, and it's going to take us a while to get to this point, or the classic example of bachelors and unmarried man. Well, the question is, well, do I need to experience a particular piece of gold or a particular bachelor in order to know that that claim is true, right? Do I have to, I know, and I've done this lecture already, but I know this guy Bob. Bob is an unmarried man. Do I need to experience Bob in order for me to know the truth of that proposition? Absolutely not. Do I need to experience a particular piece of gold to know that that particular piece of gold is in fact yellow? Absolutely not, right? So it's important that we recognize that the words that we're saying, when Kant is using speech, obviously our speech is contingent on the things around us, right? This is why he says that knowledge begins with experience. And this is very important, right? Hopefully I can make this clear. By using the term bachelor, by using the term yellow, by using the term gold, it would be fallacious to say that now we are talking about that which is a posteriori. The being of the color yellow, right? The fact that that thing is yellow, or the fact that he, as a person, is unmarried, directs me towards experience. But this is the confusion. Kant's not interested in that. What he's talking about is the proposition as proposition. And in a second we'll see even more specifically the judgment as judgment, right? He's not interested in these particular things. So we can extrapolate from to be technical, the existential instantiations, the particular individuals, and what he's not interested in that. What he's talking about is a more grand level, a higher order level of the attempt to conceptualize these things in their form, in a sense, right? In their judgment, right? And that's what Kant's saying. So yes, the fact that we're talking about a bachelor, and Bob is a bachelor, is all well and good, but Kant is not concerned with Bob. Kant is concerned with sort of to be technical, almost the semantic structure of the claim that a bachelor is an unmarried man, right? That claim, a bachelor is an unmarried man, is a type of claim. It's a type of truth. There's a type behind it, right? There's something that informs that makes that claim, that type of claim, a bachelor is an unmarried man, different from another type of claim, which would be the cat is on the mat. These are two different types of claims that can be made, two different types of propositions. What Kant wants to do is analyze, do a very in-depth, and I think this should be clear now, is that he wants to do a very in-depth analysis of this type of claim. And those types of claims are a priori propositions. So that's what he's isolating. He's not interested in the particulars, the individuals. He's interested in the class of claims known as a priori truths or a priori propositions. Okay, and then empirical knowledge, EMPI. Empirical knowledge is a posteriori. Again, I've done a video making the distinction between a priori and a posteriori in a discussion on Hume. Just type in Hume in the search field and you'll find it. Okay, so that bit concludes section 1 of Immanuel Kant's Prolegomena, right? That's section 1. Section 1, what is he attempting to do? He wants to tell us the principles of pure philosophical cognition. We cannot derive it from experience. And he gives us both sort of types of experience. The external world, our experience of the external world, or our experience of ourselves, right? It is not going to be a physical description. It's not going to be a psychological description, right? And it's not.